Our speaker, Julie Sondecker. She is a digital public relations manager at a company called Effective Spend. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. The topic that she's going to speak about is over 365 days of trash hiking, what I've learned from the trails. She is a native Texan who has lived in Austin for more than 10 years. She moved to Texas's capital city to go to school at UT, could not bring herself to leave after graduation. In 2012, she stumbled upon one of Austin's best gems, the Barton Creek Greenbelt, absolutely fell in love with it. 5 years later, while out for a hike, she came across some trash left behind by Memorial Day partiers, and a fire was lit inside her. That fateful hike is what started her 365 days of hiking movement, in which she pledged to pick up trash every single day for an entire year to help spread awareness of the litter and consumption problems we face while pledging to do something about them. She completed her goal on May 30th, 2018, and then decided to extend her journey. She was having such a good time picking up trash, to complete 1,000 total trash hikes by the end of the year. In 2019, her mission evolved after she was invited to join the board of directors for Keep Austin Beautiful, where she now helps bring together Austinites of all ages to help beautify the city's green spaces and waterways and learn how to reduce waste every day. In her free time, when she's not out trash hiking, she loves refurbishing old furniture, all things Game of Thrones, cooking, reading, camping, and traveling. Yes. Julie Sondecker.
I love it. This is all very official. Actually, I feel like this whole slide we just covered, so I can move on from that. But really, I grew up in Texas. I've always been a fan of the outdoors. I feel like the biggest thing that led me into my trash hiking journey was being a Girl Scout as a little kid. You can see me in like the 4th grade at Girl Scout camp. But the lessons that I learned from being a Girl Scout of always leaving a place cleaner than you found it is, I think it's really been instilled in me, and it's kind of a big thing that launched me into this path. And I promise that this doesn't seem like it's related to, job hunting, job searching, networking, and things like that. But if you hang in there with me, I will bring it all back. Because this journey has really, it's given me so many opportunities that I never even would have imagined was possible. I didn't even think anybody would care about me picking up trash, because quite frankly, it's a little bit of a weird hobby. But in the last almost 3 years, it'll be 3 years in May since I started doing this, I've met so many amazing people, been afforded so many cool opportunities. I'm super grateful for everything that's come from this, but I think kind of the big takeaway of what I'm going to talk about today is that when you kind of like think bigger than yourself and you really like double down on something that you're really passionate about, it expands your world in so many ways that are unexpected. And on top of that, it's really fun. Like if you do something that you find really fascinating and fun, it's never going to be a waste of your time because you'll enjoy it. So yeah, I'm Julie. I've been in Austin for 10 years now. I do digital public relations and SEO at a digital marketing agency called Effective Spend. But yeah, in my free time, I pick up a lot of trash. My friends call me the trash lady. So, and I love the title. It's not a bad thing for me. So that's who I am. How it all began, I'll go into a little bit more detail. And I'm going to kind of tell you the origin story of everything and then bring it back around to talking about some of the really cool networking things that have happened for me and a lot of the lessons I've learned that are related to kind of my professional network here. So 2017 was out for a hike. I hike all the time on the Barton Creek Greenbelt. And leading up to this, I'd seen trash in the trails, and it always kind of bugged me. I'd pick things up here and there, but you just keep going, keep moving on with your life. And that day, like Memorial Day had been the day before, I believe. and I was off work and was out for a hike, and so there was just trash everywhere. This is the very first trash hiking photo that I ever took from that day. By the time that I had finished my hike, I had 2 hands full of trash, and like it was gross, and I was leaving trash behind as I was going, and it really bothered me. I was like, this is somewhere that I've been hiking for 5 years. It's really special to me. It's where I go to like clear my mind, to have alone time, to enjoy nature. And I'm looking around and I'm seeing all these like remnants of other people being here that just like don't care, and it made me so mad. And so like on my hike back with my 2 like trash hands, or my hands full of trash, I came up with this idea. I was like, since it's the public relations person in me, I was like, I'm gonna take photos, I'm gonna post it on Instagram, I'm gonna juxtapose my trash against these like beautiful backgrounds. And I'm gonna show people like this is happening, it's super real, it's in our city, because a lot of people are like, oh, Austin's not that dirty, like we're full of hippies, like we pick up after ourselves. False. So I wanted to kind of show that, but I also didn't want to put it on my own personal Instagram account. I didn't want to be like preaching to people. I really wanted to kind of keep it anonymous, and so if you go to my Instagram, you don't see my name or anything. It's mostly anonymous. But just kind of like spread that awareness. And so I was like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do it every day for years. I hike all the time anyways. I was like, I can do that. Or I think I said I was gonna do 100 days first. And then I was like, oh, if I can do 100 days, I can do 365 days. It has like a better ring to it, I think. So I came up with this Instagram handle, came up with this whole idea, and on my walk back to the car, I was like, that's a bad idea, I'm not gonna do it. I like completely talked myself out of it. Like at the same time, like within 10 minutes, I came up with this idea, and then I was like, I don't have time, I think this is silly, people are gonna think I'm crazy, like, why would I do this? And I was like, I like it, but I totally talked myself out of it. And so that night I had gone home, was talking to one of my roommate at the time, her name was Kelsey, and I was telling her, I was like, yeah, I went hiking today, and told her the story, and I was like, I don't know, I came up with this idea, but it's stupid. And I told her, and she was like, no, that's not dumb. Like, even if you only do it for 3 days, and you don't do it for 365, you picked up trash for 3 days. And I was like, that's true. And at that time, no one was following me on Instagram, so I had no audience. No one was gonna be there to see it anyway. So I was like, all right, I'll give it a try. And here we are, I'm on trash hike number 700 and something at this point. So yeah, this is how it all began, and it's a good, I think, lesson even in this, of like, if you think of something that you're really excited about and passionate about, but it seems a little scary or a little silly or a little weird, like, if you really like it, just go for it. Like, I had really nothing to lose, and now I'm here talking to you guys, which I would have never thought 3 years ago. In fact, I was like a little nervous even telling my mom that I was gonna do this. I thought she was gonna think I was insane. So in my first 365 days of hiking, which was May 2017 to May 2018, I just wanted to show some like cool highlights of like where I never would have thought that this would have taken me. But I've been on the news a few times, which has been interesting, definitely pushed me out of my comfort zone. As someone who does PR, I'm very used to being in like newsrooms, but behind the scenes, and so doing interviews and sharing my story has been something that has been a really cool experience and not something I expected at all. I was also invited to attend the Keep Texas Beautiful conference in 2018, which was really cool. They bring people from all across the state who work in either city government or at like recycling facilities, anybody that has to do with like recycling, trash management, things like that. They bring people all together and all of their affiliates and do a big conference. And I ended up getting like a surprise award there, which was horrifying. I was not expecting it. And it was in front of a room of 500 people, but so amazing to like be honored by people who do this every day for their living, for like my hobby to have inspired people. So just really, really incredible experience. I also got to host lots of community trash pickups throughout this, which the whole idea too for me when I started this is like, if I share what's going on and I spread awareness of the litter issue in Austin, my ultimate goal is that I'll inspire other people to go do the same thing, right? Go pick up trash when you see it, because it's super easy to walk by it. It's so easy to even just ignore it. And so I was hoping to inspire other people, but having these like community trash days where 50 people come out and all go and like clean up the greenbelt, and we're pulling like bags of trash out of there, like, oh, that's like my ultimate goal. So on my 365th hike, Austin Parks Foundation organized a community cleanup, and tons of people from the community came out. Half of them were probably my friends, so that's fine. But the other half that I didn't know, that was like the community that I was really, really excited to have touched and impacted. So that was an amazing experience. Also, at the end of that year, I decided to extend my journey to try and do 500 trash hikes by the end of 2018, which I did. I just couldn't stop. It's so much fun. And I really like, having these like personal goals to work towards. So it just was something I felt like I needed to do, and since then I've extended it to 1,000 by the end of this year, which you've already talked about, which is awesome. But the other big thing that came from this experience, and where I'm going to talk about here in a minute with in relation to professional networking, is being asked to join the board for Keep Austin Beautiful. So I'm pretty young. I'm about to be 29. I had never even thought being on a board of directors at my age was something that anyone would want to hear my opinions, or I don't know. I just was like, it wasn't even on my consideration list. So being asked to join that board because of the work that I had done in Austin, just for funsies basically, was a really incredible experience. And I'm now going into my second year on the board, and have moved into some bigger roles there as well. So that's been really incredible. But yeah, so that's kind of what happened in the first year, and crazy things that came from this whole experience. Oh, I also got to go down to the Frio River. Has anyone ever been to the Frio before, in like Garner State Park? It's absolutely gorgeous. Tons of people float the river. But I got an opportunity on Earth Day of 2018 to bring me and 10 of my closest friends to go on a trip. We got to stay in this really cool little like river cabin. And we all floated the river that day. We picked up about 21 bags of garbage out of the river. It was incredible. Like these yellow bags over there were all pulled out of the river in a 3-hour float. So that was like another really cool experience, getting to impact other parts of the state, not just Austin. And that's a picture of Garner State Park. So anyways, really cool stuff happened from all of this. But like I said, what does all this got to do with Launchpad Job Club? Because I know it doesn't seem related. But really, it's finding networking opportunities in the most unexpected places. Like I said, I was afraid to tell my mom about this when I started, so I definitely didn't think that it would impact me in a professional way at all. So I think the biggest takeaway that I want to talk to you guys about is, like, even if you think your hobby or interest, you don't think your hobby or interest is going to result in a professional like networking opportunity or impact your life, I'm here to say, one, you should do it anyways because it's fun, and if it fulfills you, then it's an awesome thing to do. And two, you'll never waste your time. And two, I want to prove you wrong, because there's been some amazing things that have happened from this, and including me getting job offers in a couple of different ways. So, yeah, trash hiking has led me to, like I said, joining the board of directors for Keep Austin Beautiful, which ultimately, before this, I've been in the professional world now for going on 7 years, but my network is mostly people who are in their 20s and 30s, who work in communications, advertising, marketing, something along that. And there's not a lot of, there's a fair of us in Austin, but it's a pretty small network. So anybody that I knew was gonna be in that world. But since joining the board of directors, I now work very closely on a regular basis with people who are doctors. Like we have an anesthesiologist on our board, where I'm like, definitely wouldn't have met you unless you were my anesthesiologist. So her, we have like lawyers, we have accountants. The thing that's really cool about Keep Austin Beautiful's board is that we're very strategic with who we bring on, because the organization needs support from people of specific professions. And so they were recruiting for someone who does PR and communications, but we also try and recruit people that are accountants, we have a landscape architect. She knows a ton about trees, very interesting. But all of those are people that I would have never met if I hadn't joined this board. So it's pretty amazing. I've also recently become the fundraising committee chair for Keep Austin Beautiful, which I was a little bit hesitant to step up and do, because I'm like, I've never done this before, but that's kind of the whole journey, is like, I've never done this, let's see what happens. So I became the fundraising chair this year, and that's gonna be another opportunity for me to expand my network. Not only does that put a ask on me to do peer-to-peer fundraising, so me asking my friends, my family, my coworkers to consider donating to Keep Austin Beautiful, either in the form of monetary donations or your time coming out to a cleanup. But it also requires me to start networking with corporations that could be potential sponsors, which is like another kind of just like step up, and having to go out there and identify companies that I think might be of interest to us, because I truly don't have a huge like corporate network at the age of 28. So it's gonna help me build that though, and it's gonna have me, force me to get out there and go talk to people. So I think that's a huge professional kind of opportunity that's come from picking up trash. Other things, so speaking opportunities like this is, I am in real life right now learning to be a better communicator, pushing myself to be a clearer communicator, getting more comfortable with public speaking. To be honest, it's not something that I'm like, oh yeah, I love doing this. I do like meeting people and talking to them and telling my story, but it also makes me nervous. So it's good to kind of push the boundaries and learn how to be a better communicator. All of those things are directly translatable into soft skills that are needed when you have a job or you're in the interview process. So super useful skills with speaking opportunities. Also, I did receive not one but 2 job offers from doing my trash stuff. The first one was with a walking tour company here in Austin. They've kind of taken off in the last couple years, but I was a tour guide on the Greenbelt. It was super fun. We did walking tours of the Greenbelt. I met this woman through a public relations job that I was doing at the time, and she had told me she's working with this company called Tipster Tours. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of it. You all probably live here, so it's mostly for tourists, but walking tours, and she had told me like they want to do tours of the Greenbelt because people hear about the Greenbelt when they come to Austin, like, oh, it's cool, but if you haven't been before, it can be really confusing, like, what are the different access points? It's 8 miles of trail, and there's like, I think 7 main access points, but also little ones sprinkled all over different neighborhoods. And so I was like, oh, I know those trails like the back of my hand. I've hiked the whole thing several times. And so I ended up getting this job offer to go lead hiking tours, and they let me pick up trash along the way. So it was a total double whammy, which is awesome. So I did that for about 6 months. Until they decided they were going to cut my tour, which was sad, but it was really, really fun. And what a cool opportunity to, again, meet people that I never thought I would ever meet. I met like international travelers, different families would come in, and then of course I'd make them pick up trash, so it was, they're cleaning up the place that they're visiting. It was great. Another opportunity that I was offered through my trash hiking was through connecting with Keep Texas Beautiful. They were looking for a marketing coordinator, and I want to say 2017. The job did not end up working out. The timing was not the best timing for me, but I did go in and like sit through some interviews, talk to them about some different like PR ideas that I had, and I've remained in very close contact with their executive director, Suzanne Coe, and their marketing director as well. So that's just been a really good experience, even though I wasn't able to take that job on, of just, again, building that network. I think even since the woman that was their marketing director has moved on, and she's working with other nonprofits now, so the network just continues to grow and expand. So lessons from the trail that I think are really important is finding what feeds you. So don't be afraid to like pursue a hobby or a passion. I think it's really important. I think you talked about it's good to take mental breaks. Like it's exhausting you can't spend 8 hours a day looking for jobs. And so if you have something that really makes you happy and brings you joy, like double down on it. I've gotten so much more out of this experience than I've given, and it's absolutely amazing. Like people I've met along the way, the opportunities that have been granted to me. It feeds my soul. It makes me so happy, which is why I can't stop doing it. And I'm doing it for 1,000 days now. But it really has trickled into my professional life in a lot of unexpected ways. I also think it's important to think big, so thinking outside of you and yourself, but when you start to connect with your community, it's amazing how much you can make deeper bonds with the people in the world that surrounds you. So met a lot of really cool volunteers, like even outside of professional network, people that are interested in the same thing as me. It makes me realize that I'm not the only trash lady out there. There's a lot of us, trash lady and trash gentleman. So that's been really cool to like make those connections, from near and far. I think leading by example is also really important. So if there's any sort of like change you ever want to see in the world, like no time like now to make it happen and try and do it yourself. So you just never know who's watching you. If you decide to step up and make these changes, you never know who you're going to inspire and where that's going to lead you to. So I think those are really important. And then not being afraid to say yes. I think if it wasn't for this trash hiking stuff, I would have been super scared to say yes to something like this. I would have never done it. I don't know that I would even have the opportunity of done it, honestly, if I hadn't started this. But I promised myself once things started to pick up with my trash hiking, I think there was the city of Austin picked up on what I was doing about 100 days in through Instagram because I was like tagging people and, bugging people on social media. And I did a video with the city with Parks and Recreation Department, Austin PARD. And from there, things just kind of like very organically like started picking up. I got some coverage like on Reddit of Austin's Reddit page. I was like, I've made it. I'm gonna retire now. I got to the top page of Austin's Reddit page, and that like got me in the Austin American-Statesman, which got me on some TV shows. And so like once those things started to pick up, it made me really nervous to do these like interviews and these like speaking experiences. But I promised myself I wouldn't say no. I was like, do it even if it makes you a little bit nervous. It pushes you outside of your comfort zone. because you just never know. Like, if I hadn't said yes to doing this, like, speaking engagement with the Daughters of the American Revolution, I wouldn't have met Shannon, which I wouldn't have met you guys. So it's just like one of those things where it's like, don't be afraid to say yes. I mean, definitely be cognizant of your own time. And if you're like, I don't have time to do this, then don't. But if you can carve out the time and something intrigues you, but it makes you a little nervous, like, go for it anyways. So I think that those are like kind of the biggest lessons that I've learned from the trails over the last 3 years. And yeah, that's my presentation.
I have a question.
Yes.
Does the city financially support Keep Awesome?
Yes, yeah, that's actually where we get about 35% of our funding is through the city of Austin, working with different departments like Watershed, I think is the big one that we work with, and also PARD. And then I believe TxDOT also provides a fair amount of money. I know that they do a lot of funding for Keep Texas Beautiful, which there's Keep Austin Beautiful is the national organization, Keep Texas Beautiful is a state affiliate, and then Keep Austin Beautiful is the city affiliate of KTB. So they're all connected. But yeah, there's about 35% of our funding comes from state programs.
And what are the fundraising initiatives that you're thinking of?
Yeah, good question. So I don't actually come up with these initiatives. That's the staff, right? But I help support them. So one that's immediately coming up, is anyone here familiar with Amplify Austin? Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure you guys know Amplify Austin. Yeah, exactly. So Amplify Austin's coming up. I'm a peer-to-peer fundraiser for Amplify Austin. If anyone has questions, let me know. But yeah, so we're doing Amplify Austin. We have a pretty small goal there. A lot of our fundraising comes from corporate sponsors because a lot of our individual donors, they're donating time. We mobilize people to get out there and go do these cleanups and do restoration projects and like plant trees and do all kinds of really cool stuff. It's not just trash. But yeah, so we're doing Amplify Austin, which is next week, next Thursday. It's the citywide annual day of giving. So lots of nonprofits are amazing, like $5 here, $5 there. It goes a really long way. Everyone's fundraising on that day. So we have that, and then we have Keep Austin Beautiful Day is April 18th of this year. That's our big citywide, like we mobilize 3,000 volunteers across the city to work on more than 100 projects. And that's everything, like I said, from trash to like planting trees, doing trail restorations. If you really like to swing like sledgehammers and stuff, we got a place for you. And then afterwards, there's a big volunteer party. HEB sponsors it, so there's food and there's door prizes, and it's really fun to meet people that are also out in your city cleaning things up. So we have that, and then we also have the Beautify Bash, which is kind of our like annual gala that's in the fall. So yeah.
And is that a formal thing?
The Beautify Bash? It's like less formal than most galas. You know, you hear the word gala and you think like black tie affair, sitting down at a table. Ours is at Umlauf Sculpture Garden usually, so it's outside. It's really fun. There's like a DJ. We do some award stuff. There's a silent auction. And it's a mix too of like, we like to bring in sponsors at the corporate level to come to that kind of thing to help with fundraising, but also to bring in our volunteers. The ticket prices are usually like pretty approachable, like $65. So it's not those really fancy like black tie kind of galas. So yeah, we're a casual bunch, honestly. Like I washed my hair for this, you know, and like it's a lot. No, I'm just kidding. But
have you gained any insight into why people are leaving trash? Have you done any research into that? Or?
Yeah. No, so I haven't like conducted any like professional research per se. And I took some of that out of this presentation because I wanted to kind of focus on the professional side of it. But it's a consumption problem. I mean, the litter that we see, we live in a super like, you know, single-use society. Everything comes in a cup or a bag or something, even just stuff you buy at the grocery store that doesn't need to be wrapped in things is wrapped in things. So all of those things that we consume, it has to go somewhere. And so I think a lot of the litter I do see is actually accidental litter, where it falls out of someone's car or whatever may happen. But yeah, so I think it's a consumption issue. And then I also think it's the thing of a lot of people are like, well, it's not my problem, you know? But I do think that if we could, as a society, could work on consuming less single-use items, it would help a lot with just like literally their litter wouldn't be there to produce.
So are you working on anything to try to...
No, I feel you. It's actually something that I have a lot of like cognitive dissonance with because I feel like the work that I do in picking up trash is Band-Aid for a way bigger problem. But no, to be honest, I haven't quite figured out, like, I personally have changed a lot of my consumption habits. So instead of using dryer sheets, I use the wool dryer balls. I definitely use, water bottle. Like, we use these biodegradable like sponges at our house that they break down. We also compost. The city of Austin's amazing for providing composting. There's all kinds of stuff I do from a personal level, but as far as like changing consumption on a grander scale, that's a trickier question for sure, and not something that I have gotten around to figuring out on my own. So.
Do you know this about the Austin's recycling program? Because originally, I think they had the recycling program, but they were trucking everything to San Antonio to be separated. And then we were supposed to be building a facility here to separate the trash. And I don't think that ever happened.
Okay.
They were saying that we were shipping stuff to China. Now China won't take. What's the status of our city recycling program? Do you know anything about that?
To be honest, not enough to like speak super competently, but I do know that we have like our whole Austin, I think it's by 2040 zero waste initiative that's happening. And actually one of my clients at work is Texas Disposal Systems. So I do know that like the city contracts out, I believe, more local facilities now, like Balcones Recycling does a lot of the city recycling. TDS has contracts with the city, but I don't know the 100% answer to those questions. But as far as like the China recycling market, I think they closed that in 2017. Don't quote me on that. And I know like TDS, because they're my client, I have a little bit more inside information, but they have a massive facility. They have like hundreds of acres, and they, instead of throwing their recycling away, they actually are lucky enough to have a place that they've been actually storing their plastics. But that is an issue, and that's an issue of why we can't keep consuming plastic at the rate that we are, because there's literally nowhere to send it right now. There's no way to recycle it. So you recycle it. In a lot of cities, it's come out that you recycle your plastic and then it goes into the landfill because there's nowhere to send it right now to be reused. Yes?
So from doing so many trash pickup walks, have you noticed that there's less and less trash, or is it just constant?
It's kind of constant. Like, I pick up trash in my own neighborhood pretty frequently because I have to squeeze in these trash hikes before work a lot of the time, so I don't have time to like put on my hiking boots and go to a trail. I like walk out my front door and like go walk around my neighborhood, and I mean it's never ending, to be honest. But I do live on a street that's like a thoroughway in South Austin, so there's a lot of people who drive through that don't necessarily live there, but yeah, it's a pretty steady stream. Yes.
Julie, with our biggest annual event, South by, coming up,
yes.
Keep Austin Beautiful work with the South by folks to see about recycling?
I don't know that Keep Austin Beautiful does. I know that we work with people during ACL. That's a big one. Austin Parks Foundation is also a big nonprofit that gets money from ACL as well. But I believe there's probably different things that we're partnering with the city with South by, but that's definitely a time of year where you're going to see an influx of litter. And I mean, I've walked down 6th Street on South by, and you just see like there's flyers everywhere and swag all over the place, and there's scooters in the river, and it's a little bit overwhelming. But I know the city actually does have like cleanup, and South by has cleanup, but I'm not sure that Keep Austin Beautiful does much with it, to be honest. Yeah. Any other questions?
Well, despite the weather?
Yes. Okay, so hurricane, yes, every day. That is another part of this it was literally every day. The only time that I didn't do it every day, I went to Thailand in 2018. So I had to I was literally going to be on an airplane for essentially 24 hours. So before I left from Houston to go to Thailand and Thailand to come back to Houston, I did 2 those days. But otherwise, yeah, it was every day. I hiked through Hurricane Harvey, which was, luckily in Austin, it wasn't as severe, obviously, even close as it was in Houston. But we had rain for 3 days straight. I don't know if you guys remember that. And there's the day it was really cute. I put on a raincoat thinking that it would I won't get so wet. I looked like I went swimming when I got back from doing that for 3 days with Hurricane Harvey. So that was fun. But yeah, just, you kind of get used to being a little cold, you bundle up, or if it's raining, you put on a raincoat and just go out. Maybe those are a little bit quicker. My trash hikes are anywhere from literally it'll be 5 minutes of me walking from my office to a parking lot if I'm really busy and I'm grabbing bottles along the way, or it'll be an hour and a half of me on the green belt. So I was very loose with the parameters of what was considered a trash hike, because you're doing it every day.
Did you pick up trash in Thailand?
I did. Yeah, I picked up trash in Thailand. I've picked up trash in Japan. Picked up trash in lots of different cities around the U.S. I've been to New Orleans, Florida. I like to travel. So anywhere that I go, I have this little mesh bag. You probably saw in some these pictures. I use a mesh bag, and I'll wash it, and it's machine washable. So I'll wash it before I go, and then I have like a little zipper pouch that I'll pack it in my luggage, and that and my gloves come with me. So anywhere I go.
An important part of your work is obviously putting this on the web.
Yes.
What sort of digital media background do you have?
So doing public relations, which I don't specifically specialize in social media, I will say that, organic or paid social. But in doing public relations, like you come across a lot of like social influencers, and I'm a millennial, so I've been exposed to this stuff from a pretty young age, and I'm very familiar with social, but I don't have the only thing I really do is my Instagram, and I'll use some hashtags to help spread stuff. I'll tag people. I love tagging corporations that I find their trash all the time, so Budweiser gets hit up a lot in my Instagram posts. A lot of Budweiser, a lot of Whataburger. I let them know where their products end up. But yeah, it's mostly social media, and then also through some of the different like opportunities, like when I went to Frio and cleaned up the river, that was through Uvalde County like rivers, and like their tourism group is who brought us in, and so I wrote a blog post for them, and I've written some other blogs, I think, for Keep Texas Beautiful. So a little bit of that, but I don't spend a lot of time like promoting it or trying to push it out. Like kind of let people find it, and if they find it, cool, and if not, then maybe they will someday. So it's mostly just Instagram though. Yes.
Just a suggestion, how about reaching out to Whataburger and Budweiser and all them and do a PSA?
I love that you're telling me this. I actually wrote a letter to Whataburger. I spent like 2 hours of my life writing them a letter, and I wrote it out. It was like 2 or 3 pages, I think, on a Word doc, and I like copy and pasted it. I went to go send it in their like consumer form online, and they had like a 500 character limit, not word, and I was like, ooh, that's gonna be rough. So I actually ended up sending it to them on Facebook, and I got a very like canned response. I can guarantee you that Whataburger doesn't manage their own Facebook account. It's probably an agency. So I got a little bit of a canned response, and I actually recently followed up with them. I wish I could show you guys. I sent them this message that was like this long and attached all the trash photos that I had with Whataburger cups in them and was like, here you go. So I have tried that. I haven't had as much luck with them as far as Whataburger goes, but if anybody has a contact at Whataburger, let me know. So I have some ideas for them.
Does it use styrofoam? Is that the deal?
Yes, styrofoam. And I can't stand styrofoam. It's a challenge. I'd rather plastic than styrofoam. Because it degrades so quickly when it's like thrown out of a window. I mean, and once it degrades and breaks down, there's literally no way to recover it. It's really frustrating. It'll like crumble in your hands. So that one's a tough one. And Whataburger's tough for me too because they use Keep Texas Beautiful, Don't Mess with Texas branding on their bags. It's not every bag of Whataburger, but if you ever grab a burger there, check it out, and you might see like they put like don't litter type of stuff on there, but they use those campaigns, and I'm like, come on, you guys, like they're so influential. I feel like they could make a huge difference. And my background's actually in restaurant public relations is where I started, and so part of me is just like, I'm like, let me help you, like we can make this amazing, but I'm working on it. Yes.
Do you partner ever with the annual Lake Travis cleanup? I think it's run by the LCRA. Once a year, I believe it's on the first or second weekend of September, and they do a short cleanup around entire Lake Travis
I haven't done that,
and the water cleanup as well.
That's
and
awesome.
I think it's managed by the LCRA.
Yeah, that sounds great.
The Lake Travis parks.
That's awesome. No, I haven't done that, and I'm actually not aware of it. I know Keep Austin Beautiful does Clean Lady Bird Lake Days every other month, so we just had one in Feb. We'll have Keep Austin Beautiful Day will be in April, so it'll be kind of combined with that, and then June we'll have another one. So we do a lot with Lake Austin, or Lady Bird Lake, but
It's impressive how much trash.
Do you see a lot of trash diving?
Yes.
I can only imagine what you find.
The LCRA boat is usually full. With
Yeah.
The same mesh bags.
Do you ever pull trash out with you when you're down there?
Yeah. Beer cans, Jello shots.
You should
for
do
some reason.
365 days of diving. We're gonna expand and do some like branding. I love it.
Do you have a thing like on the Keep Austin Beautiful website where you have like honor companies?
Oh, yeah.
That have changed and then maybe.
Oh, well, not necessarily that.
You know,
but-
that have changed to recyclable containers, and then maybe the biggest offenders.
Ugh.
So you
Call them out. Yeah.
publicize those things, and so you say these are companies that have converted their packaging to.
I would love to do that. I would love that we would have, those kind of
Maybe
conversations.
you couldn't shame them, but maybe you could just have honor people, but it could be good if you could have both lists, and
Yeah.
then somebody transferred from the shame list to the honors list.
Yeah, we can move them over. We don't currently have that, but I'll talk to our executive director about it. We put our sponsors up on the website as usually what, if you see a brand or a logo, it's a sponsor.
Right, it'd be a different,
Yeah.
category.
I don't know that they would go for the shaming thing, but I do love the idea of like us getting out and talking to people about consumption. There's actually this like little atom floating around in my head that I kind of want to go back to grad school and study this and like do something, get out of PR and do that instead, but maybe someday I will. And that would be awesome. Any other questions? Yes.
Has your employer ever expressed concern about the amount of time you devote to this?
No.
If so, how do you?
No, in fact, my employer just donated $12,000 to Keep Austin Beautiful. They're amazing humans, and I'm so grateful. So grateful. Yeah, I think that's why I got asked to be the fundraising committee chair. I'm like, oh, this was an anomaly. It's not gonna, I don't know if it's happening again. But yeah, no, my employer's been super grateful, and it never cuts into I mean, I say that right now, I'm here, not at work, but they're very laid back about it. I'm really grateful to work for a company that has flex hours, and you know what? I work 12 hours on Tuesday, so I'm going to take a little time off on Friday to do things that are important to me. And yeah. Yeah, so Effective Spend, we're a digital marketing agency. We're located, I'm actually right off of Lady Bird Lake. We're at Barton Springs and South Congress by the Yeti building, if you know what I'm talking about. And we started about 12 years ago. It's a husband and wife duo that own the company. There's maybe like 45, 50 of us. We're pretty small. They started out doing paid digital advertising, so search ads on Google, Bing, Yahoo, mostly Google, and then also paid social. So if you see ads, sponsored posts and ads on your Instagram feed or your Facebook feed, those are the kind of paid specialties that we have. And then on my side, I'm on the SEO team, which is organic search. So instead of paying for advertising, we go into your website, we take a look at how it's performing from like a technical standpoint, how is the content written, then how many like backlinks do you have, and we help you kind of improve your website so that you'll rank organically for non-branded search terms. So say I'm Whataburger and I want someone to come find me, but I don't necessarily want them to type in Whataburger to find me. I'm just looking for burgers near me. We would work with you to make sure that your website's set up in a way that it'll appear in those search engine results. Organically. So that's what I do, and my component of that essentially is doing public relations outreach on a digital focus. So I focus on getting links and brand mentions of our clients within like blogs, more traditional media outlets, like say like KXAN or something like that. They'll get brand mentions and they'll link back to our website. So that's kind of what I do.
Do you have any demo things then?
We are always hiring on the paid side. Our paid team is much larger than our organic team. But yeah, definitely our website, it's effectivespend.com. There's a careers tab and we're always hiring. So I don't know what we have open right at this moment, but we just hired a recruiter for the first time for our company because we're growing. So we have someone who's like, we have a need for a recruiter, so there's definitely a regular stream of job openings. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
One more quick question. So working on a nonprofit board can be really very satisfying personally, and it can also be a great professionally rewarding. And I was wondering if you could speak to the room a little bit about if a person's interested in going that route, how they would go about doing that.
Yeah, that's a really good question. Keep Austin Beautiful is my first time being on a board, and I knew nothing, and I repeat nothing about being on a board. They, for the first time, my first meeting, they were like, do we have a quorum? And I was like, what is a quorum? I've never even heard that word. And basically, it's a mandatory attendance number, just give a little definition there. But the way that I found my way into Keep Austin Beautiful was actually through a woman who she paddle boards and picks up trash, and she's on the board. We connected through Instagram, so that was how I found my way. I do know with Keep Austin Beautiful, we recruit for our board annually. We have board terms, so you can only stay for 2 terms. It's 6 years total. So at that mark, we have people roll off, and we kind of have to always gather people. So if you were interested in joining a board for a nonprofit, I would just get online and do a little bit of research and reach out to the board, because I don't know for certain that every board does recruiting annually, but we do, and I'm sure other boards do. And they're never if you're passionate about something, they're not going to turn someone down that's like, really about this organization. They'll definitely be interested, I feel like, in talking to you. That's one thing that we struggle, I think, with a little bit. We recruit a lot of people, but if we had someone that was like, I love Keep Austin Beautiful, I'm a huge volunteer, and they wanted to join, we would snatch them up in a heartbeat. So